Join the fray. It's such a beautiful day. Don't delay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestling Fray, and welcome to another episode of the Fray Forum Podcast. I know it's been a while, and your boy just celebrated 40 years on this earth last Wednesday, so feeling pretty good. Blessing, underrated blessing denied to many, might I add, and I think I put a post up on YouTube, so for all those who told me happy birthday on there, Facebook, thank you so much, I appreciate it. I'm blessed to see this age. But a couple of topics I want to get on today. But before we get to that, just a couple honorable mentions. I heard Impact's latest pay-per-view did very, very well. So I want to say congratulations to that. I'm sorry, I'm looking at a print. It looks like it's messing up, but hopefully it's good. Anyway, and then also, there was a lot of wrestling outlets that was talking about what happened to Matt Riddle, or Matt Riddle was missing. I guess he's been off TV for a bit or whatever. Well, we saw Matt Riddle last night losing cleanly to Ludwig Kaiser, which is not a big deal because Kaiser is actually a very good performer, but it just seems like Riddle just can't get no break. No push, no break. It's like he's there. He flourished when Randy Orton was there. Now he's just kind of floating out into the wind. Anyway, that's not one of the major topics I wanted to talk about. First topic I want to touch on involves somebody who I've been waiting to see for a while. We finally got to see him, and according to a lot of people, it was underwhelming, and that is Mr. Gable Steveson, I should say. Now, here's the thing. From what I understand, they had him coming out like the Olympic hero, kind of like Kurt Angle. Big mistake. I know we're used to WWE and a lot of wrestling promotions, for that matter, rehashing the ideas of certain gimmicks and whatnot. The Olympic hero should not be one of them. That was unique to Kurt Angle and Kurt Angle only, in my opinion, because he was, well, the first to do it. But that doesn't necessarily mean, please ignore that, that doesn't necessarily mean that every time somebody has any type of Olympic feat and they come into wrestling, especially when they win medals, they don't have to go through the same thing. It should be something that's very unique to them. See, I felt Kurt Angle's gimmick was very unique to him. And I'm not the only one that feels this way, obviously, because the crowd pretty much turned on him, it looks like. And they were chanting for Baron Corbin. They were chanting for Baron Corbin. I'm going to say that again. They were chanting for Baron Corbin, who has not been a fan favorite for a long time. If they are chanting him, that's almost go away heat at this point. Now, this is a bad spot to be in when you've been touted for a year plus. You finally make your debut and they cheer for the guy who's doing the job for you. It might as well have been cheering Let's Go Jobber. But here's the thing. It's not too late to save Gable Stevenson's wrestling career, WWE career, I should say. The logical thing would be to turn him heel. But here's the thing. If the creative team decides to go that route and turn him heel, they cannot do the same thing Kurt Angle was doing. I feel like this is exactly where they would be leaning to if they did that. How I would do it personally, tap into Stevenson's personality, build off of that, let him put himself over with his personality, with his charisma, if he has any. If he doesn't, of course, he's just gonna fall to the wayside. But this is one thing creative can easily mess up, and they really should. I think this dude really can have a career in the WWE, but and I'm not pointing blame to whose idea was it for him to come out like that or how it is, because truth be told, from what I understand, I don't know how true it is. From what I understand, he had no dark matches or anything like that. Honestly, I think that really would have helped him. Like, I don't know how good he was in the ring per se, but from what a lot of people were saying, it's like this was his very first time out there. And that's one thing you gotta be careful with. This is somebody you really been talking up for a long time, and for him to go out like that is not a good thing. If anything, Creative and Gable Steveson both need to go to some self-reflection on that. Now, if I am wrong, or if you think I'm wrong, and you think there's another direction that could be, or if I'm over-exaggerating as to what happened, let me know in the comments. You know, we'll talk about it. The next topic I wanted to get on involves Mr. Dirty Dom, Dominic Mysterio. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. The idea of Dominic Mysterio being a superstar, it wasn't that believable to me. I mean, yes, we saw this kid as a kid growing up in the business, and the notion was that he got in because of his father. And everybody saw that. That's why everybody, you know, wanted him to turn on his father, because they were like, okay, you in your father's shadow or whatever. And then even after he turned on his father, and they tried to, or still kind of doing this daggone ex-con gimmick where he was probably in holding for like 30 minutes and talking about, oh, I ruled the block. You weren't in prison. I mean, to me, that just felt silly. But when I tell you, I've never seen somebody get so much heat in a very long time, to the point you can't even talk on the microphone. I mean, and he's really going with it. He captured the North American title in NXT, and that savage, yes, I'm gonna say savage interview when he talked about when they asked will he reconcile with his dad, and he referred to Eddie as his dad. Rest in peace, Eddie. And for real, rest in peace, Eddie. Now here's the thing: when they do this on TV involving Eddie or any other wrestlers that pass, I don't like it. I feel it's a slap in the face to get cheap heat or a cheap reaction from somebody that's no longer with us. But the way Dom did it, for some reason, I was okay with it. It didn't feel like a slap in the face to Eddie, because I know he actually respects Eddie. His father was Eddie's buddy, and you know, the way he did it, and you know, the way he has that arrogance, that smugness, he's really coming into his own. A lot of people would just boo the crap out of him, and as you should. If he really works on it, he can actually be a very formula hit. I'm not going to be like a lot of these people that be on the you know, subreddits and on the vlogs and all that stuff talking about, oh, he should be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. Hell no, he should not. Y'all need to get that idea out your head right now. Honestly, it makes more sense for Jay to do it than Dominic, and I honestly don't think Jay's going to do it, but that's neither here nor there. And also with Dominic, the way he just blew off Shawn Michaels backstage Sunday night, that was awesome. That shows that he's willing to take this heel persona as far as he possibly can. Now, how will this go with his father, who's been a babyface most of his career? Not all, but most. Like, he's eventually gonna have to break out on his own. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna drop the Mysterio name or what. Like, I like where things are going with Donald, but eventually, in order for that heel persona to work, he's gonna have to be able to speak on the mic, because he can't right now. Not with that corral of booze. But it's just, every time it happens, it's hilarious to me. Like, I can't help but to laugh every time that happens. That's my thoughts on Dominic Mysterio. I want to kind of sidetrack the AEW for a second. So, let's talk about CM Punk and the world title that he has. He's not world champion, but the world title that he has in possession of, that he decided to spray an X over. I get it. I just don't like it. Here's the thing. Whether you're Harlem Heat, Hulk Hogan, Sting and TNA for that one scene, I don't like spray painting belts. You see, I'm an avid belt collector. I will never spray paint a belt. That's just me. Now, there was one time I got a terrible looking big gold boot. I was going to spray paint NWO on that just because it was terrible looking. I ended up selling it to somebody that could refurbish it, but the AEW is not a belt that needs that. I mean, honestly, I didn't think the big gold was a belt that needs that, but I don't know. I wasn't feeling that whole thing. I don't see where this is gonna go. I mean, I see they're trying to do something with it, but I'm not feeling that. Look, I cringe when belts are thrown around, defaced, and all that stuff. And you take the AEW title and you do that to it. Yes, granted, that's not the current title. But still, and speaking of which, what was the point? The reason I'm asking what was the point is because, okay, CM Punk is not the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. But MJF, who is the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, was there that night. Nothing came of that. Yes, I know he's in his own storyline, Punk's in his own storyline, but doesn't that seem kind of off to have a segment with the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, the old one and the current one, has nothing to say about that, not even the tweet or X? What's the name of the app? Is it still Twitter? Or is it just X now? I don't know. I don't know. I guess when you can throw money around like Musk, you can just do crap like that. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that particular segment. And like I said, I hope it goes somewhere. And if it's a big payoff, I will get on this podcast and say, I was wrong. I hurt my mouth. But until then, I think it's bullshit. Honestly, I think to go there is bullshit, and whoever came up with that is full of shit. Sorry to be so blunt, but that's how I feel about that. Yeah. And we're gonna stay with AEW, and we are talking about Britt Baker versus Taya Valkerie. And before we get to that, I'm gonna say this: if this match happened 3 or 4 years ago, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised because, and this goes for everybody, if anybody's still on here that was following me ever since the channel was called Fray for All, I was not the biggest Britt Baker fan at all. I mean, nothing wrong with her mic skills. It was her wrestling. She moves so slow and so sloppy in the ring, I could not stand it. And be honest with you, ever since was it a Blood and Guts match? But before it took the War Games layout, that match she had with Thunder Rosa, it was that was, to me, that was a turning point in Britt Baker's career, because that's when I started liking her, because that's when I really started to see the passion in the ring. That's when I really started to see her giving a crap about what she does, putting more emphasis in the moves, and she's an all-around good wrestler, honestly. And yes, that was after injury, but even so, before that, she just moves slow. Now, notice I said 3 or 4 years ago, I have no issue with Britt Baker now. But this match here reminded me of how she used to be. There was no emphasis in the moves at all. The moves were slow, the moves were sloppy, and Taya Valkerie, same thing. And I don't normally see that from her. But really, when you really pay attention to it, both of these women look sloppy in that ring. I mean, the Road to Valhalla, sloppy. The Lariat, sloppy. I think some type of spear or clothesline, sloppy. And I know she's dating Adam Cole, but that was probably one of the worst looking Panama Sunrises I've ever seen. And the icing on the cake to this was the lockjaw. She had it in for maybe 3 seconds, didn't even put no pressure in it, and Taya just tapped out. It was like, oh, she put her hand in her mouth. Oh, tap. I was not feeling that match. And from a lot of comments I saw on Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, X, whatever the damn app is called now, I'm not the only one that thinks that. Does that make me think any less of these women? No. They had a bad match. Shit happens. And some people chalk it up to the fact that it's the first time they ever wrestled each other. That doesn't mean anything. Not to me. Because when Thunder Rosa was so-called sandbagging Maria Shafir or whatever, that match was more entertaining than this match. Now, I hope we see these women in the ring again, and I hope everything turns out much better. Because, I mean, it's gotten better over the years, but when AEW first started, you know, the women's division didn't get a good rap at all. It was not a good division. It's much better now. But this match tonight reminded me and a lot of people out there of how bad it used to be. Again, Britt, Taya, I love both of them. And I hope, like I said, I hope we see them in the ring again after a better performance. And that's how I'm going to say that. The last thing I want to touch on, we're going to go back to WWE here. And that is with the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. And this is to address a rumor that I heard about. That rumor being that they were thinking about turning Roman Reigns face. A lot of people don't like that idea. But see, a lot of people don't like that idea because if history is a good determination, a babyface Roman Reigns is not good. But here's the thing about that. You had a babyface Roman Reigns, a babyface Big Dog. You never had a babyface Tribal Chief. He can keep the same persona and be a babyface. You have to excuse me. I live next to a base, so I'm gonna hear some planes. But this is what I'm getting at. Okay, we just talked about this person, Britt Baker, and I'll go ahead and throw in The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and to an extent Triple H. Shoot, even CM Punk, Kurt Angle to a certain extent. and many more. I'm not going to list more, but these are superstars who turn babyface without changing their persona, without changing the way they act, the way the crowd perceives them has not. I mean, that's the only thing that changed, but it has no change on how they are. So I think the Tribal Chief can be babyface, but a couple things would have to happen. So I have two possible scenarios. One, Solo could take the heat. Shoot, he might even attack both Jay and Roman at SummerSlam because he wants to be the Tribal Chief himself, something like that. That's one way to save Jay from taking another loss to Roman. That's another way to kind of have Roman be a face, or they could go with the double turn. This won't exactly have Jay win, but if Jay transitions to a heel by viciously attacking Roman to where Solo and Heyman side with Jay, and Roman's all by himself because of how he treated everybody. Everybody alienated him, yet they are the heels, and yet he is forced to bring out that baby face in. That's just a scenario that I'm giving. But here's one thing that I feel definitely will have to happen. If they want to make Roman Reigns face, the wise man has to go. Because I really want you to think about this. How many times they just love to fly when I'm talking, I'll tell you. But no, this podcast is non-stop. I'm not editing this out or anything. So, as I was saying, how many times have we seen Paul Heyman manage a babyface? How many times have we seen Paul Heyman so-called manages a heel, and when that he turns on that heel, and that heel became a babyface? We've seen that with Lesnar. We've seen that with Punk. That happens. And yes, this kind of goes against what I said before, rehashing ideas, but that actually works. And I guarantee you, until I said something, some of y'all were not expecting that, and some of y'all probably think that's an idiotic idea. That's what I see. Now, I don't see a babyface Roman Reigns being with the wise man, being with Paul Heyman. In order for that to work, I feel that he's really going to have to break from Paul Heyman. How's that going to work? I don't know, but here's my take on that. I don't think Roman Reigns needs Paul Heyman as much as, let's say, Brock Lesnar did. Paul Heyman is normally the one that is the mouthpiece. Paul Heyman is the mouthpiece for Roman sometimes, but for the majority of the time, he's the one talking. All Heyman is doing is carrying belts, looking at Roman Reigns like he should be looking at his wife, honestly. Giving him admirations, or coming out there when Reigns don't feel like being out there, or basically he's filler. How many nights have you seen Paul Heyman come to Raw or SmackDown with both belts and Roman's not there? To me, that is the extent of what the wise man does. The wise man is not a mouthpiece. The wise man is not an integral part of the Tribal Chief gimmick. And so therefore, if the Tribal Chief were to become babyface, Paul Heyman has to go. That's just on me. I mean, that's just me right there. So those were the few things I honestly wanted to discuss. I know I haven't done a podcast in a while, but those are the few things that's really been on my mind. like I said, I'm in a house with no AC, so you probably hear my window unit blaring. I don't know if I said that earlier, because I was supposed to do this a couple of days ago, but I'm glad I was able to watch Raw. And I'm gonna talk to you guys. Leave any questions or observations, constructive criticism. Leave that all in the comments. Let's have a discussion. Like I said, in the I read every comment. You don't have to agree with me. If you disagree with me, put it down. Just be respectful, and we'll have a conversation about it. Let me know what y'all think. Thanks for tuning in to, I believe this is episode 4 of the Fray Forum. You have a good night. You made it all the way to the end of the video, but did you subscribe though? If not, consider subscribing so that you're notified of every video we make and becoming a member of the Fray family. One of us, one of us, one of us. Well, thank you for joining the Fray. Good night.